Make sure we got this live.
What you want to drink? What you want to do? Douce, Jack?
Hold on. Yeah, that one.
This one?
Yeah. All right, Shalom Israel. Shalom. Y'all Shem Shabbat to the brothers. Y'all Shemar Latam Bashim Yoshan to the sisters. ISUPK, the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge, established in 1969, 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We're led by Commander General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any other organization. Israel pay your tithes. And get ready for the Lord's 55th annual Passover, April 20th, Durham, North Carolina. It's going down. Make sure you get your travel arrangements set, your lodging arrangements. Make sure you got some pocket money, some spending money. They're going to have the vendors out there. So it's going to be a one hell of an event. Right up there in the corner.
Yes.
Nope, behind that. Yeah. There you go. So ISUPK Milwaukee, LASHAWAN QADASH class. Today we're going to go over the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. We're going to write it out in the English. The English letter like visual, like phonetics. So you can see how we pronounce it, get the visual of how we pronounce it, and then we're also going to write out the Paleo Hebrew and the Assyrian. So now you can go in Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13. So now in the New Testament, there is a Hebrew version of Matthew written in the Paleo Hebrew. But for the most part, that New Testament is written out in Greek. But if you look at the words that we're going to write out, and you can trace all of them back to the Hebrew. So when we're like the pronunciation of them is going to be in the Hebrew dialect, not the Greek dialect. So this is going to be Lord's Prayer. Find this in Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13. So now also with transferring between the Hebrew and the English, if you were to do it very literal, it's almost gonna appear how like Spanish is written out. How like, they might say, instead of like the green ball over there, it might be over there the ball that is green. And so like it's probably not how Spanish is built up, but something to that effect. It's not gonna be in that same order of operations that you might see written out in English. Abanawa. Oh, shit. Shamayim. It's like a Shabbat Shemayim. Okay, we'll fit QADASH there. We'll do this bit by bit. I think we'll be able to fit. Probably just do 2 rows. QADASH. Hayya. Shemka. Yahweh. Type that. We can switch that out. Start here. All right, so in the English, the way that this would be expressed is going to be our Father. But to show kind of what I was talking about in reality, so in the Y, this would be one word that would represent ours. Abba is Father in Hebrew. So if we were to do it that literal, it would be Father our. But again, just the way that it would be expressed is our Father. We'll probably do another class on like those straight points. But for right now, we're just gonna show. Actually, let me do this in blue. For right now, we're just gonna try to streamline it. So our Father. And then this whole thing right here, which art in heaven. So Shema is heaven. The Yom makes a plural because we're talking about. We're not necessarily speaking about like more than one heaven at once, but we're talking about a heaven beyond, like beyond the heavens, like the fourth dimension where the Most High would dwell. Ba is in. There is no Hebrew word necessarily for art. Again, we're talking about Old English, old Quaker English. So the words that they were using at this time, there aren't Hebrew words for, or better yet, we could say it the other way around. There's no, like, for them to make it make sense in English, they kind of have to add a little bit onto it because there's no direct link between the Hebrew and the English like that. So they have to, you almost have to explain it a little bit more in English, whereas in the Hebrew, it was just a lot more just direct to the point. And again, the inflections that the rest of the characters would give it would give you the context, would give you the target audience. It would give you the proposition, you know, like the whole setup of how like that sentence or that phrase structure would be put together, would be built up. But like so Shah would translate into which, but again there's no word for art. So they have to kind of, I don't want to say make that inference, but in order to bring this to life in English, they have to add, you know, another word or two to make that make sense in a sentence structure. So, which in the heavens, you know, which art in heaven. Qadash is holy, but the word that they had used in the English is hallowed. So now, or Salaki, my fault. This is not written in Matthew. We use that in our prayers just to let people know whose name we're talking about, in whose name. So be thy. So it's kind of all right. So Shum is name. Shum is name. Ka would be thy. But now also in the beginning of the word ha, it's talking about um so ha more directly is the, but it's also like he, his, and especially at the end when you have ya in there, it's not only a reference to the Most High, um, but this is the possessive. So hallowed be, so like this again, this whole section right here. So hallowed be thy name. The next word is a little bit long. So we'll just do with this first. We'll just take it bit by bit. So now again, in the English, you're reading it from the left to the right. In Hebrew, it reads from the right to the left. So when we write it out in Hebrew and Assyrian characters, we're going to be starting here and forming the word out going to the left. So we're starting with ah, ba, and then na, wa. And the way that we have it written out here also lets you know what characters are connected, what stands alone. And we use these symbols to let you know if they're standing alone or if they will be connected. So now again, the way that this is built up, each character, ah, ba, na, wa, they're all pronounced individually. Whereas over here, you can see how, like yum, these are pronounced together. So these are gonna be two characters that get pronounced together. So we'll start from this side. Sha, ba, sha, ma, yum. All right, so Shabbat Shemayim, again, alone, 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 connected. Qadash, and those are connected. I'm using like we'll use like the little dots or dashes like in between just to let you know that there is a separation to make it easier for the pronunciation while you're reading through it. That's my fault. All right, realistically, if I were to write this all out, I would have had Abinawa all the way down here, and then Shabbat Shemayim over on this side. Because again, reading from the right to the left. But I just want you to see this end of it, like just the word set up. Because otherwise, again, it's going to be so Abinawa Shabbat Shemayim. Our Father which art in heaven. Abinawa Shabbat Shemayim. But I'm just gonna put them under the words for now that we're actually trying to pronounce. But really, like if you were to write this all out, this would be the proper way to do it. Write the whole thing out from the right to the left, the same way that we wrote the whole thing out from the left to the right. So, dash. Yeah. Shamka. So now a lot of times you're going to see more of the connecting words, and or it's like characters, the ones that normally connect. A lot of times they're going to be at the end, but you know that's not always going to be so when you have specific words. Right, so now to write out in the Assyrian. Again, this is a good example of getting familiar with the characters that look alike, that share elements, by to differentiate them. Some of these characters like na in the middle or in the beginning or the middle of the word, they take on one form. At the end of the word, they take on another. So another good example here, the ma in the middle of the word takes on that form. At the end of the word, takes on a different form. So with the Paleo Hebrew being more pictographic, this being a pictographic dialect, the Assyrian not so much. We can still see the shared elements in some of the characters. They just try not to make it as blatantly Israel or blatantly Hebrew as our oppressors would have liked. Give you a second to look at that. We do got that glare right here. So for those that can't see it, these are A's or I's. So just to let you know, if you haven't tuned into any of the other classes, I and its equivalent in the Assyrian. So again, everybody's penmanship could be a little bit different. We just try to keep it in the same ballpark. Clean that up a little. So these are the characters that the glare is kind of blocking out right here. Now we'll erase this. So if you're at home watching these, it's important to get that repetition. You know, copy the alphabet down, copy it again, until you can get to the point of kind of that muscle memory. And when you hear the word, or especially when, at least when you see it spelled out, spelled out like. If you were to see it spelled out like this, that you'd be comfortable enough to write that out in the Paleo and in the Assyrian. Yeah. Aisha. I'll write this out. How do you feel about writing this out?
I can't write it yet, man. I can sound it out. I can get comfortable doing that, looking at the paper.
You want to give that a shot? Sound it out?
What you mean, writing it out?
Sounding it out.
Oh, sounding it out. Malak with ka. Malak with the ka. No, Malak with ka. The Baha Ratazaka.
Thaba'a Ratazaka. Close. So you're identifying at least each character.
Malak with the ka. The Baha Ratazaka.
You're reading this part backwards, so you're saying Thaba'a.
Yeah.
Thaba'a.
Thaba'a. Okay.
Get a water. You want a water?
No. So I take a soda, ginger ale. Yeah.
Schweppes.
Thank you. The water.
You know, shout out to everybody who put in for the Feast of Dedication yesterday too. From Milwaukee, the sisters did a bang up job with the food. I ate this afterwards. It was crazy. Luckily we had enough to take home too, though. That's the most important part. If you're gonna cook with the intentions to give leftovers. We want extra food.
Yes, we do.
I want to do that again. So don't get slack on that part. All right. So we had our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So although we had said how Ka was going to be thy, so now Malakwath is kingdom. So Malak king, Malakwath kingdom. So thy kingdom. Thy kingdom come. Ratazah, thy will. Well, and so now this again is kind of hinting back to like thy will, because it's talking about the Most High's will. So like in a sense, you know, we got thy up there. It's kind of like that here too. So these two are kind of connected. Ratazaka and Hayat. These kind of go together in that sense. So the kingdom come, thy will be done. So Aratazah, so like we just heard Aratazah being will, but Aratazah is earth. The Ba again is in, so that will be done in earth. So some of these you can trace like the literal connection in earth by Aratazah. Yeah, again, we're going to kind of have that same thing going on. So Kawahaya. It's on earth as it is. I'm gonna have to double check on this too, but because the way that this flows, yeah, because this might be the word for B. Haya. B, like 2B. Because it's going to be kind of the same reflection here. So be done in earth as it is. And is and be is pretty much the same kind of word. I'm just going to write this as a continuation, so I ain't going to muck that up. Malak Waka. Right, that's a ka. And I'm gonna look this up too real quick. Aisha. These are separate. Those are together. Faratas. Kawa. Again, you can see some of the elements, find familiarity there. And then some of them don't exactly have the same resemblance anymore. Yeah, that's right. Let's go to the other way. So at the end of the word, the tazah would take on that form. In the beginning or the middle of the word, the tazah would take on this form. Why? Honestly, I do not know. They don't talk to me about this stuff. I'm just kidding. I just don't know. So that kingdom come, that will be done in earth as it is. We all kind of familiar with what comes next after that. Yeah, slacks my phone over there.
Oh.
On the ledge. Is that it? Other side?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna try to look this up in the Strong's Concordance real quick. Hiya. I think that might be B. But also like the same inference that B would have is would carry as well. Go.
So like this, sir.
Yeah.
Hayah, would that be like the other way around? Be like name B. It'd be the other. You said read from right to left, right? Yah saying for the name, then B. Was it not that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so they're saying B. B would be the use of it in this context. Alright, so Salaki for prior to, so when it said Abanawa Shabbat Shemayim Shamka, that's Salaki. Abanawa Shabbat Shemayim Qadash Hayah Shamka. So our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So Hayah would have been B, Shamka would have been thy name. My fault. So be done in earth as it. So again, that would have that same inflection. Is and be, just the way that they wrote it in English. You can say that this is gonna be substituted with is instead of be in this case. Right. What'd you make here?
Steve.
Oh shit. This is the water.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Oh, this is that ginger?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is that ginger?
All of the stuff to wear.
Wow.
Same clothes and the stuff. The real stuff.
Okay. I appreciate it. How are you with writing?
Hmm?
How are you with writing the Hebrew?
Bad.
Yeah.
But I'm getting there. I'm gonna get there soon.
give it maybe a couple more weeks of checking out classes, and then we're gonna start bringing y'all up to write it out.
Okay.
That way you can get the
Practice,
hands-on. Yeah.
I learned like that.
I like that idea.
Keep on messing with that. So we had Abinawa LASHAWAN QADASH Shamkaya Malakuka Taba'a Ratazaka Haya Aisha Ba'arataza Kawa Haya. That's where we left off. So now we're at Bashamayim. There's a break right here. So again, that same word that we had up top when we was talking about Abinawa Shamayim. This is the same thing. Just minus the which part, man. Bashamayim. See if we can make some room here. Call. Wow, Masalakla now. I will end that one here. So we're left with on earth as it is in heaven. And again, the heaven is in reference to where the Most High dwells. So that's in but beyond like the heavens of the earth, like beyond the firmament, behind like the heaven of the stars and the outer space and things like that. I know this part's a little, I won't say complicated, but damn, I had this sheet at home too on how this is literally broken down. So Lakam was bread, I believe. So on the thumb give La Nawa. So La would be two. Nawa again, ours or us in this case. So to us. So give us. And again, a more literal translation, it would be more like give to us. But in heaven, give us. So now the way it reads is give us our bread. It's like give us this day our daily bread. So give us. Now again, technically this is bread. Oh my fault. I might have had that backwards. Second, let me double check. Slovakia. Let me just double check. Because again, the way that it's worded in the Hebrew is a little bit different than how it would be worded in the English. But the English needs to understand it in English, you have to give it a little bit more. So for example, if you go into the Hebrew Greek interlinear, I'm just gonna look up oh man, that's not gonna work because that's in the Greek. So we're gonna have to go to the lexicon again. So like it, bear with me 1 minute.
They spell it different.
Which one?
It's not LASHAWAN. It's CHAIIM, and they say.
What are you looking at?
To lie. I'm trying to look at the word in Hebrew what it means.
But what are you looking at?
It just show them results. How to pronounce LASHAWAN correctly. Hebrew. The meaning of LASHAWAN Hebrew. I spelled it like that, we changed the spelling. LCHIIAIM.
What are you looking at though? Are you looking at it's just
internet.
a Google search.
Yeah, Google search.
So now again, you're looking at something that's likely Yiddish.
Oh, that's probably Yiddish.
Yeah, it's definitely Yiddish.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is why you got to be careful on whatever study guides you go to for the information. There we go. Whatever study guides you go for the information, to make sure that you've got that, kind of vetted. All right. All right, here we go. So Lacom. All right, so all right, so essentially that's going to be the word for bread. It's not directly bread. It's more so food. But that's going to be the word used. So again, like this is where it kind of gets a little backwards. So give us, it's going to read, this day our daily bread. That's how it's going to read in the English for the message that they were trying to convey. Because call is every, this is day. So in heaven, give us food every day is like the literal translation to it. But again, if you were to go just the way that they had expressed this sentiment in English from the Hebrew, I'm gonna just do it like this. Give us this day our daily bread. So again, just so you understand, again, we're going from Old Quaker English, from the Hebrew to Old Quaker English, the King's English. So kind of artistic, kind of artistically expressed, but still delivering the same message that was intended from the Hebrew. And forgive us. So you might hear a lot of us saying, salak, salakia. So salak is, excuse. If I were to say salak, yeah, excuse me. So this is the root word, salak. Y is and. So, and forgive us. Again, us. And so again, la being to. So, asking like, giving forgiveness to us. And forgive us. So again, you can see kind of, I guess in a sense, like the necessity of how in English they would have to, I won't say jazz it up a little bit, because again, if you were to read it straight from the Hebrew like that, in heaven, give us food every day, and forgive us, or forgive us our. Just to smooth it out, for their culture, for their time in history, for their linguistics, their poetics, their artistry, just to make that kind of smoother for their culture. This is how they had written it into the English, translating it from the Hebrew. And again, it would have been from the Greek, but again, there is a Hebrew Matthew, and if you were to trace all these words back from the English, these are the words that you would get back in the Hebrew. This is how you would build it up. Shamayim. Wa. Become. So when that lakam, that would be the food every day. So again, that's just a smoother way of kind of translating that back into English. Daily. Call your mom. Be a good way to say daily. Let's just stick with the pattern that I'm going. Call it together. And just again, remember, if we were to write this out in the Hebrew, like for real, I'd be starting this sentence all the way down here. So we read, call Yawaram Wasalak Lanau. Instead of just doing it right underneath the word, the whole sentence would be starting from this way over. Salak Lanawa. And again, another example how you can see in the beginning or in the middle how this character takes that form, and at the end of it, how it changes form. It's not true for everyone. Like the ba, it's gonna remain that form, whether it's in the beginning, middle, or at the end. Oh, it's a lot. I actually cut myself on that. And you're gonna have like this will be a good indicating point. You can see how this is taller than the rest of the characters. You can see how this is thinner than the other characters. You can see the similarities between the na. There's a y down here, for example. So the y and the na are pretty much the same. The difference is going to be that height. So if you were to see a y right next to it, it's going to have that same profile. It's going to be, it just ain't going to be as tall. It's going to look damn near just like it, but your one's going to be taller. When you see it in the text, it's not going to be as exaggerated. Yeah, I'm making these tails a little bit longer just for the visibility. But like if you were to read this like in the Torah and the Assyrian, the difference is going to be a lot closer. So just something to keep an eye out for when you're reading through. And then the la also that starts above the rest of the characters that you normally see. It ends up the same, but it starts off taller. So we got Bashamayim, Nathan Lanawa, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak Lanawa. Let's see what's up with this T. Yeah, that's good. Everybody needs a tobacconized in their zone, man.
Yes, they do.
Go find you a Zebulon night, man. Do good work. So in heaven, give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our Salaki. Why Salak would not have been forgive us our. It would have just been forgive us and forgive us. My fault. because the hour comes in the next word. Because we're talking about what that hours is. So again, my fault on the last one. So what was it? Wasalak Lanawa is just and forgive us, because again, Nawa, us, our debts. So again, debts kind of would have come first, and then ours would have came after. But for the English equivalent, and for their mindset's sake, forgive us our debts. So now again, it's going to read as we forgive. So, you know, us, we, our, forgive. So as we forgive. Again, so our debtors. So this whole chunk, again, is kind of written backwards, kind of flipped around, because this is and don't and not. So as we forgive our debtors and lead us not, because this would be lead us. So again, when you hear the word la'ah, that's, you know, that means no, or, you know, negative, or just depending on the inflection that you're giving it, not, you know, don't. It's more of like a refusal kind of thing. Just again, the more literal translation would have been just a little backwards. So and don't lead us. Just again, the way that the old Quaker English was written, you know, and lead us not. Nawa. Nawa. Kas. Salak. Nawa. Wakinawa. Wafyanawa. Wala. Tapianawa. Tapiya. Ya. I don't want to make it look too much like a pi symbol. But it's very Stonehenge-y. So we had, and forgive us our debts. So we're to look up at the root word kabawath, for example. Salaki, I did that backwards. That's why I keep on shooting myself in the foot. So used to hearing it one way in my head. Kawab. Kawab. Kawab wath nawa. My fault. Helps when you read everything. Wow.
that. Let's clear this up. Green. Kawawafnawa.
Just make it easy to look up.
So that light work right there? Over your head? Better out.
And it doesn't do a whole lot for this. Select. Give me 1 second here. Let me see something. I'm gonna have to try to track that root word down for our debts. Alright, so we can get that later. A little bit of homework on my part. Let's keep this moving. What time is it? Lead us not. Piano by side one. Ball. Shine hour. Shine. Side one. Ball. Shine hour. Young. Right. Kaya. Ka. Hamalakwa. Side one. So then this portion into temptation. So we know from our king name Yahushua, meaning the deliverer, the savior. So we can see that same Yahushua. We can see that same root in there. So it should kind of click that we're talking about into temptation with deliver us. Deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. again, keeping in mind if we were to write this out for real in the Hebrew, all this would have started off on that end. Would have been Bonasai 1, Ball, Hawashanawa. All this would have been over here. Reading from the right to the left. Yeah. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And all the rest of this from there. And again, like the literal translation of it, things will get switched around a little bit, but you can see some of like the direct instances. Like that's pretty much directly translated. Deliver us. Hawashanawa. Again, Salaki about the glare. What we can do about that right now. No matter where we set up lights in here, it's gonna be something funky. There's gonna be glare in here. It's gonna be too dark or too directly bright. Again, sense the glare. But we're making do so far. Get this off the board. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom. Everybody in their mama kind of knows how this ends off. You know, then this prayer that he's sending up, because you know, when the brother was asking it, he was asking Yahweh Shai, you know, how do you supposed to pray? He said, listen, like this is a simple one that you can do. Praying for your people, praying for forgiveness for you, for sins that you've committed, but also asking the Most High to forgive others the same way that you're supposed to. The same way that you're asking forgiveness from Him for your offenses. He's expecting the same thing from you to people who offended you. Because we are most assuredly in this together.
Salaki, sir.
Yeah.
If I may, have you ever tried to buy lightning, like go above the chalkboard?
Yes.
You tried that too?
Yep. Same thing, same effect, that same glare.
Oh, okay.
Except like so we have the bar lights.
So I'm saying like that, like up there.
So there would be a glare right here.
Oh, okay.
Which really wouldn't be so bad.
Well,
But
Amazon
then-
sell like you put like right on that beam and plug it
Yeah,
up.
we tried that.
Oh.
Alright. Finish this out. Wow, Allah. Para. Get it again. Just want the symbol. There we go. Aluminum. So deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power. Again, this is a really good example of like that very literal translation from the Hebrew to the English. Wa is and, Ha is the, Allah is power. So when you see that word Allah or God, as they would translate it to English, that word, depending on the context, just means power or authority, judge, angel, messenger. But this is a good example of that literal translation, where the English didn't have to do much work to make this make sense in their dialect. That's very clean. So, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. So be it. Or as they would say, Amen. Paula. Rapapara. La'aulanium. I think I'm trying to remember what that physically translated to. It's like just for time's sake, I'm gonna have to move on. I know we got a brother, our damn, I can't remember what that actually translated into, but again, for the English equivalent, forever was to make this make sense again in English, forever is what we used. Alright, so that's the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew and the Assyrian. The pronunciation between the Hebrew and the Assyrian is going to be the same. Nothing's going to change there phonetically, just the characters. Where are we? That's about it. So next week I'll try to grab some of those vocabulary words to show you like the root word in it. So like in here, like I will that would be the root word. Actually, that's the one I should have looked up. Whenever you're trying to look something up, you always want to focus on the root word. It's a lot of times it's not going to have like the suffix or the prefix involved. Those are things that kind of happen as the word gets built. There we go. All right, there we go. So when you look it up, so Awalam or Alam from 5956. Which was Alamath. Oh, my fault. Alright, so just a different variation. Alam, to veil from sight, conceal, any ways, blind, dissembler, hindsight, secret. But in the context that it's used, conceal, the vanishing point, generations, time out of mind, eternity, always, ancient, continuance, eternal, so on and so forth. So forever. So again, like La being two, Yam making a plural. So this is talking about, eternity or continuance. Like the eternity, like forever, like the times. So forever is a good word to use to describe that, to convey that message. So again, if you're trying to look up the definitions of some of the words, again, you're gonna have to get to the root word. So on this one, Awalam was the root, and then this just kind of brings the context. And we're pretty much at time, so Salakia. So we'll cut it here. Join us next Friday at 7 o'clock. You can always catch any LASHAWAN QADASH class from Israelite School UPK every Friday, depending on what time zone you're in. So if you're in Central time zone, some of the schools, it normally starts about 6, 7 o'clock for the most part across the board. But Central time 7 for Milwaukee. You got excellent teachers out there in Minnesota, and Harlem, and Philly, and Texas, and Cali. So don't forget to check them out as well. It's off the board. Salakia. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Again, get ready for the Lord's Passover. The 55th annual Passover in Durham, North Carolina, April 20th, man. Get your hotel room booked, get your Airbnb set up straight, get your travel arrangements nice and early. If you're flying, get your tickets early. Say you ain't gotta scramble at the last minute, and you can pay a little bit cheaper. But until then, we will see you later. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Shem Yahshua to the brothers. Yahweh Shemar Latam Bashem Yahshua to the sisters. Shalom.